Hi, my name is Sena Maria, and I'm going to be talking about women's burnout, how we can reclaim vitality through hair tissue mineral analysis, and what hair testing can reveal about why we got burned out, how we got there, hormonal health, and overall metabolic health. So I am a mineral nutritional balancing practitioner. I run a year-long membership for women where we do 3 HTMA tests throughout the year. And I support women with minerals, nutrition, and lifestyle to reclaim their vitality. It's called Radiantly Nourished. That's what I'm all about. So I got into this work because I had my own health crash back in 2021. And it came to figure out that it was actually histamine intolerance, that my body had been sending me signals for probably 5 years, slowly letting me know, like, hey, you're having more seasonal allergies, you are having more sleep issues, you're having more premenstrual emotional issues. And I didn't really listen. And then my body reached a tipping point and I became forced to listen. And I actually got into hair tissue mineral analysis because I won a hair test in an Instagram giveaway. And I was blown away by what the practitioner could tell me about myself just from seeing my mineral and metal levels on a hair test. So this was, like I said, 2021. So it's now 2025. I've made leaps and bounds and progress in my own healing journey. And I was so inspired once I learned about the importance of minerals and how I feel like this is such a missing link in really like any like conventional medical or more like alternative medical approach that I have explored. No one really got under the hood with minerals in a way that made sense to me. And so that's how I got into this work. I prioritize working with women. My membership is only for women because women are unique. We have very specific needs and sensitivities because of our body's ability to grow life. And whether or not you actually have children, we still have hormonal cycles throughout the month. And then if we do end up having children, you're going to have the mineral requirements needed for growing a baby, for breastfeeding, the stress of, parenting, all of these things. So I do feel that women have a unique requirement. They have unique needs. They need a specific lens. And that's why I focus on what I focus on. So I realized through my health crash that it was actually my adrenals were totally exhausted. My thyroid was super sluggish. I was in metabolic burnout. So it wasn't that I just was lazy. It wasn't that I just needed to do more. I wasn't doing enough. I needed more discipline. I actually needed to nourish. I needed to slow down, do less, take things off my plate, and learn how to cook myself 3 meals a day and eat breakfast. Some really basic foundational nutrition pieces that I did not have. And I think many of us are missing, and they can really move the needle in such a big way. So what is burnout? Dr. Paul Eck is the founder of Mineral Nutritional Balancing. He defines it as an exhaustion of the body's energy producing system. So mineral nutritional balancing looks at the whole body system. We're not just going to focus on symptoms. We're not just going to say, oh, okay, you have eczema. Let's just like treat the eczema and try to get rid of the eczema. We get under the layers of what is your body communicating through that symptom of eczema? The body needs to create energy efficiently and eliminate toxins efficiently. When I talk about the metabolism, that's what I'm talking about. So if we are depleted, overly stressed for a long period of time, if we, have a long history of not taking care of ourselves, if there was ever, substance abuse issues, if we've had a lot of trauma in our life, if we've been exposed to a lot of toxins, all of these things are stressors on the body. And over time, if we get depleted, the body is less able to create energy efficiently and eliminate toxins efficiently. So the body holds on to toxins and it's not able to heal. properly. It just doesn't have the resources. So that's this like metabolic slowdown that I think a lot of women can relate to over the years. So when the metabolism is suppressed, what that looks like on the hair test is we see adrenal dysfunction. So the adrenals are usually, more sluggish. They're exhausted. They're depleted. The thyroid can be sluggish, exhausted, depleted. Adrenals are the fuel, and the thyroid is the spark. And so these two organ systems are so important for overall metabolism, metabolic health. When the adrenals get really tired, it's like trying to start a fire with damp wood. Because that fuel is just like, we don't have the fuel reserves there. I'm going to give you one hot tip. Literally like 50% of the women that come to me, if you just start making sure, if you're not eating breakfast and you can start working towards a protein-rich, nutrient-dense breakfast within an hour of waking up, that will probably make you feel 50% or more better right off the bat. So when we're not doing that, the adrenals, our body's going to depend on, it's going to use the fuel from our food, or it's going to use stress hormones from the adrenals to function. If we're waking up, drinking black coffee on an empty stomach, we're just going right on adrenal energy. Over time, that's going to deplete the adrenals. That's going to slow down the thyroid. That's going to have a cascade of effects. That's going to lead to metabolic imbalance. And over time, there can be a burnout if it's not addressed. Burnout. So what does it look like? Burnout is one of those things that you can look totally fine and normal on the outside, but internally, you're exhausted, you're emotionally flat, you're apathetic, you don't have energy to be motivated, to be excited, to be inspired. On a very physical level, there are some just basic signs of metabolic health. Are you sleeping well, 8 hours a night? Are you having bowel movements every day? At least one. Are they well formed? Is your menstrual cycle regular? If you are menstruating. If you've lost your period, your cycles are getting really irregular, like a long amount of days, all that. You have really bad PMS, PMDD, all of these things are signs that there's some metabolic imbalance. How is your digestion? So we talked about bowel movement, but how are you able to digest food well? Do you get a lot of bloating, a lot of gas, stomach pain, diarrhea, constipation? These are all signs. Libido. Do you have a healthy sex drive? Are you suddenly gaining weight or losing weight with no explanation? Like you're all of a sudden, it just kind of happens, even though you feel like you're doing all the right things. Do you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster? Do you have low stress resilience? Is your hair loss, hair thinning, hair dulling? Are your nails brittle? Are your teeth showing signs of like maybe getting a little more what's the word, translucent, or having cavities? Do you feel like you can't slow down and rest? Sometimes there's this wired and tired energy with burnout as well. So it's kind of like some basic, just, are you sleeping well? Sex drive? How is your diet? How is your bowel movements, digestion? How is your cycles? Just looking at all of the tenets of like, what does it look like to be a healthy, vital human being? And if you're noticing that you're not feeling healthy and vital in some of these areas, that's your body talking. That's a little communication from your body to say, hey, we don't have, like, our metabolism is not going as we need it to go. We need some support. So listening to these symptoms is really important. And when we continue to kind of ignore them or push through them or deny them, that's when over time, the body will reach a tipping point and we can get into that like really serious level of burnout. So the HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis, that's what I use to see a window into cellular health. We look at the level of minerals and metals excreted into your hair from your body, and it shows me a longer term window, definitely longer term than blood work, into metabolic trends from your body. So I can see adrenal health, thyroid health, how your body's tolerating blood sugar, liver health. We can look at heavy metal loads. We can look at overall metabolic rate. We can look at overall cellular vitality. There's a lot you can see on this hair test, which is why I love it. So some of the common patterns I'll see in women, a 4 lows, unfortunately, this is more and more common. 4 lows pattern means all 4 of the macro minerals, calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, are below the ideal levels. And it's essentially a collapse pattern. The energy system it's like a sub-oxidation rate. We're not slow, we're not fast, we are just in kind of, the body's in survival mode. Chronic stress, food restriction, trauma. We can actually be born into this pattern. So we are seeing more children born into this pattern now. Dr. Eck, when he analyzed over 200,000 hair tests in the 70s and 80s, rarely saw children in a 4 lows, but now it's quite common. So that's a whole other topic about kind of generational mineral deficiencies. But being in a 4 lows pattern is one of the most serious patterns on this test. And there are a whole host of symptoms that one can experience when we're in that 4 lows. But that's kind of like the ultimate burnout pattern. Calcium shells. So when the calcium gets really high, 100, 165 milligrams percent, depending on kind of who you talk to, it's literally the body walling itself off from stress. It's creating this barrier. It's overwhelmed. It's a stress response. It's like, I can't deal with this, and I'm going to create this actual mineral barrier. Calcium hardens, it calcifies, right? So it creates a barrier around your cells to try to protect yourself from stress. This is more common for women, like more women by far than men are in calcium shells, which is really fascinating. So I do feel there is like, women's bodies are more sensitive. I do feel that that's just by nature, that's by design. It's actually a strength. And the modern lifestyle level of, stress that we're exposed to, and you factor on trauma and all sorts of, nutritional deficiencies, toxin loads, et cetera, the body can get overwhelmed. So when we're in a calcium shell, it can be hard to feel our emotions. There's kind of this, like a shutdown inside, maybe a numbing, maybe a hiding, a detachment from life. I'll also see low sodium to potassium ratios. That's the vitality ratio. So that gives us, we see low vitality ratios in signs of adrenal burnout. The immune system is going to be suppressed. They're just poor overall resilience to life. People can feel very emotionally stuck. They can feel stuck in the past. It's not a forward moving, like visioning for your life, inspired energy. It's just ruminating. It's feeling like you're moving backwards or moving in slow-mo, glass half empty kind of approach. Chronic fatigue. People with lower vitality ratios tend to get very sick. Like, they get sick more often because of that immune system suppression. Cardiovascular stress, kidney stress, liver stress, resentment, hostility. Those are some of the common experiences when someone's in a low vitality ratio. Bowl pattern is another one that I see. So a bowl pattern literally the first 4 minerals look like a bowl. And I think about it as you're standing at the bottom of a bowl and all you can see is the little cutout above you. You can't see 360 degrees. You can't see behind you. You're stuck at the bottom of this thing, and it's a very stuck pattern. So we have that frustration, resentment, hostility, plus defensiveness, a little bit of like, there's just this kind of tight tension in a bowl pattern. And then there's also a pattern called a lifestyle stressor. So this is when the blood sugar level, the ratio gets either too high or too low. It signals that there's something beyond just diet that is causing a significant stress on someone's life. So a lifestyle stressor is something like working a job that you hate, or being in a relationship that's toxic and really hard for you and not good for you. Family dynamics, living situations, these are things that are harder to change. They're not easy to change typically, but women being sensitive beings, we need to be in alignment. It's going to be draining on us if we are in situations that are not good for our beings, for our souls. We need like that. Well, that can show on the hair test. So this is just a quick kind of overview. There's many more patterns. There's many more things we get into on the hair test. But the hair test is really good at getting into pretty nuanced explanations for burnout and can really reflect, more specifically, like, okay, you might feel burned out and you actually might be feeling really stuck, or you might feel burned out and you actually feel really numb. You can get a lot of really pretty accurate information from this test. So mineral nutritional balancing, I love this approach. I have found it to be so effective for myself and for my clients. And it's different. So there are different approaches to the hair tissue mineral analysis. Not every practitioner is doing mineral nutritional balancing. Mineral nutritional balancing is a lineage from Dr. Paul Eck that he created this whole body of work in the 70s and 80s. So it's been around for a long time. There's a lot of data. There's just a lot of research. And there's a few things that make mineral nutritional balancing stand out. One is that Dr. Pollack is the one that identified that 4 lows pattern. So other practitioners, if they're in a different lineage or approach, they don't view that pattern. They don't use that pattern. It took Dr. Pollack 11 years to identify the 4 lows as a different pattern, and it needs a different approach. So the 4 lows tends to be those people that tries every practitioner, like they go to naturopaths, they go to everyone, and no one is able to help them. Like they're just the ones that are kind of the hardest. They feel like the hardest to support. And it's because the 4 lows needs a fundamentally different approach than what most conventional and alternative practitioners are going to do. So mineral balancing I view, and mineral balancing in general, like we take the whole mineral wheel, the connection between all the minerals and metals into account when we are looking at a hair test and when we are designing protocols. So I like to think about it as a spider web. Each node of the spider web has its own mineral or metal on the web. And they're all interconnected. So if you're just supplementing magnesium, for example, that's going to pull on that magnesium node and the whole web is going to be impacted. So this is why, if you're going to take supplements, it makes way more sense to know what supplements you need, and how the supplements interact with each other. Otherwise, you're impacting this whole spider web and you don't really know what you're doing. And I did this for a long time. It's very common. So I understand, but now that I know about hair tissue mineral analysis, I would never just randomly take a supplement. So if you're taking magnesium, for example, you could over time, be wasting sodium or potassium, and not realize that you're having that impact. like the minerals need to be in balance with each other. Calcium and magnesium need to be in balance with each other, for example. So there's a whole complex system that's used in mineral balancing. Overall, we are looking at restoring the metabolic function of your body. So this isn't just like, if you take this one supplement, you're going to feel better. It's actually like, no, we want to support your overall metabolic rate so your body's able to efficiently create energy and efficiently eliminate toxins. There's a deep trust in the body here. So if the body has enough energy to heal, it will heal. Like the body's always trying to move to homeostasis. And that's one other reason why I love mineral nutritional balancing, because we're not just getting into the nitpicky symptom management or support. We're trying to give your body the resources that it needs to actually do the healing that your body knows how to do best. So yeah, we're about restoring the system function. And minerals are the foundation, right? Like they're the raw materials that our whole body is made from. Minerals are essential elements that we do not create internally. We need them from outside. So this is why nutrition is so important. You can't just supplement your way out of a mineral imbalance. Nutrition is a really important factor. Lifestyle is a really important factor. And I do believe supplements are very important when done in a good way. So when we're having hormonal system issues, we're having low energy issues, like really any issue, if we go all the way down to the root, there is a mineral component to be considered. So mineral balancing is also not a quick fix. And this is actually why I really like this approach. And I feel it's really effective for women. Healing is not a linear thing. We'd love it to be just a up and to the right, linear, like just get better every single day and we don't have any symptoms ever again. But that's not what happens. How long did it take you to get to this place of depletion, burnout that you're in potentially right now, or that you've ever been in your life? You know, for me, it was decades. It was 10 years of alcohol abuse. It was hormonal birth control. It was poor eating habits, you know, like long time frame here. So mineral nutritional balancing kind of honors and follows the body's natural healing rhythms and pathways. And it's not necessarily linear, but I kind of describe it as like there is this up and to the right improvement, but it can be a little like up and down along that line. But overall, there is a trend of improvement. It's really gentle and supportive for the nervous system when done, you know, gently in a good way. We're not necessarily just trying to stimulate you if you're tired. Like there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of nuance in how we are intentionally designing protocols to meet your body where it's at. And we retest every 3 to 4 months ideally. So that's why I have this 12-month container, because I want to see, how is this protocol working for you? What do we need to shift? And we just get to tune in with your body regularly. I'm not just giving you a protocol and saying like, come back in a year, right? We don't need the same supplements all the time. The body is always changing. And so the thing that's important for anyone that might be considering a mineral balancing approach is it does require a level of surrender into, like, this might take longer than you would like it to, but this is actually going to get at a sustainable, like, root cause healing. So it's worth it. It's worth it to invest, let's say, a year and really see how your body responds. You can also do it as more of a preventative approach. So now I just use it 4 times a year to check in on where my body's at. So there's a lot of flexibility. And I love this approach. So that's why I'm here. So hopefully this gives just a little overview of mineral nutritional balancing, of why this is really important for women, especially. There are so many women that reach that kind of late 30s, 40s, maybe after they've had some children, they reach this kind of like point, and even though we think we're doing all the things that we should be doing, there's so much information out there about health and how to eat and how to live, and it can be really overwhelming. And so my desire for everyone, especially women, is that to make healing more simple, that we can simplify healing, that we can kind of shut out the noise, see how your body is actually making energy, see how it's able to eliminate toxins, know what your body needs right now in this moment, and continue to meet that and show up for that. And typically for women, there's a level of slowing down that's needed. And I've seen time and time again just incredible transformations in women that have taken this approach. So if you are feeling the call to mineral nutritional balancing, I highly suggest you listen to it. I open up my membership a few times a year. My website is sena-maria.com. You can look at the Radiantly Nourished membership page there. I've got some other fun stuff going on. So join the waitlist if you would like to chat with me at some point about that. And if you want to say hi on Instagram, I love chatting with people. So at Sena_Maria, and just shoot me a DM. Okay, take care.